Paide, the city in the central part of Estonia, the administrative center of the county of Jarvamaa. The city is known for the lock constructed by the Livonian award. The Estonian name of the city of Paide, derivative of Estonian pai, limestone, material of which the lock was constructed. History. During Wesenstein's capture by Ivan the Terrible's army on January 1, 1573, the attack was headed by Milutin Skuratov and the first ascended to a city wall, but it was killed. In Paide at the cemetery Riopolu Augustus Wilhelm Hupel, 1737-1819. The German-Estonian publicist and the philologist was buried. From 1900 to 1972 through Paide the narrow gauge railroad Turi, Paide, Tampsalu ran. In the city serve as a reminder on it the remained railway station and the name of one of streets. Railway. In the years of Cold War in Paide there was the Soviet airbase Koigi. In 1950-1991 Paide was the center of the Paide district. According to the contract signed in Stenby, the Livonian award on lands of the Järvasti county had no right to build locks and strengthenings. However, this ban didn't extend to the nearby small county Alampoisi. Founded in 1265 by the master Konrad von Mandern, Schlossway. Enstein is for the first time mentioned in the Livonian Chronicle of Hermann Wartburg. Here's residence of the Livonian award was located. The lock was strategically important point in the center of the Estonian part of Livonia. I was in riverheads of Parnu, controlling crossing of overland roads. Located on the island in the middle of swamps on the place of the ancient settlement of estates, the lock soon became the capital of the states of Jarvamaa. On September 30, 1291 Paide acquired the rights of the city. The castle tower on the city coat of arms for the first time appeared in 1441. The oldest part of the lock is the octahedral inhabited tower Donzen, 30 m high, constructed in the 60th years of the 13th century. Donzen had 6 floors from which 3 lower were blocked by the arches. The second floor was adapted for housing, 3 top served for the military purposes. At the beginning of the 14th century to a tower the convention building with the closed yard was attached. Still later the external defensive wall, the western gateway tower and a northeast powder tower were constructed. In the 16th century the lock was surrounded with earth strengthenings, bastions and shaft. Since then Zamkova Hora began to be called Valimyaji, the Gross Mountain, and an octahedral tower Valitorn, a gross tower. In 1558 the Livonian War began. On January 1, 1559 the master of the Livonian award Wilhelm von Furstenberg prepared the project in which the award refused in favor of Denmark Northern Estonia, the areas Harju, Viru, Herve, including Tallinn, Rekvere, Narva, Vest-Narva, Länvirumaa. Paide Denmark took under the protection against the Russian land of the Livonian award and the Riga Archbishop. Actually the award offered the Danish king those lands that already were in hands of Russians. He won them for himself. During the war in Paide there took place battles in 1560, 1562, 1571, 73 and 1581. In 1561 the city was occupied by the Swedish troops. Under the contract signed in September 1564, Russians had to recognize territorial acquisitions of the Swedish King Erik XIV. Two Swedes then rebel. Tallinn, Pernav, Parnu, Paide and Carcass with their counties departed. Narva was assigned to Russia. At the end of 1572, Schleswig Enstein, a strong point of Swedes in the central Estonia, were besieged by the Russian army numbering 8,000 people, headed by the Tsar Ivan IV Grozny. In fortress were locked to 50 Swedish soldiers who with assistance of citizens showed to Russians fierce resistance. On January 1, 1573 under walls of Paide during a siege Malyuta Skuratov, Grigory Lukyanovich Skuratov-Balsky, the head of the Russian Guardsmen, a gloomy and cruel figure of the Russian history, died. According to some information, he the first of attacking on a horse with a spear tilt rushed in the breach of a wall of the Paide castle done by the Russian artillery. The Tsar Ivan IV Grozny blindly trusted Malyuta and saw in him the usual savior, so flew from this loss into a terrible rage, having ordered to burn alive all Swedes and Germans taken prisoner under Paide. Having seized the lock, Ivan the Terrible came back to Novgorod. In 1581 the lock passed to Swedes again. Also in 1602 and 1608 collisions took place here during the Swedish-Polish War. In 1602 after a 3-month siege of Paide took the Polish troops, in 1604 there was an unsuccessful attempt of Swedes to recapture the city, and in June, 1608 they achieved it. As a result of all military operations from the lock there were only ruins. The next 2 centuries stayed the remains of the lock throne. In 18th-19th centuries fortress was used as a stone quarry, getting a stone for local construction needs from there. The castle tower Valatorn was restored in 1895-1897. By 1896 the destroyed top of a tower got Girnevershi in the spirit of the European feudal castles. In 1897 overteeth the octagonally cattle roof which turned the perchers embrasures between teeth into windows of the observation deck was induced. In 1941 the tower was blown up by the receding Soviet troops, having razed it to the ground. From 1944 to approximately 1949 in Paide there were exhibits of the Narva Museum, one of the oldest museums of Estonia, transferred here to storage before restoration of the destroyed museum building. In 1990-1993 the tower was built up anew on the remained drawings, and it isn't of big architectural historical value anymore, especially as over time in her constructed the elevator. The total cost of restoration was 42,650,000 kroner. On each of 6 floors of a tower the exposition from the history of the Javamaa area was placed. The art gallery, and on the top 7th floor is equipped the observation deck with which the view of the city opens. In Valatorn Cafe restaurant on the 2nd floor the medieval arches are kept, and the attempt to keep spirit of the Middle Ages is for the rest made. Dishes of medieval kitchen are presented in the menu, ancient music sounds, all personnel are dressed in medieval suits. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.